This is the 7th lesson of Unreal Engine 5 C++ for complete beginners. In this video, we are going to learn about constructors in C++. We will also try to understand some of the default code that Unreal Engine generates for us automatically. And throughout this lesson, we will compare everything with Blueprint scripting. This will help you understand the concepts much more easily. Let's get started. I am currently inside the header file of the test actor class. This is the same class that we created in the previous lesson. Now, before we do anything else, just take a look at the code on the screen. At first glance, it probably looks a little confusing. And that's completely normal. Now let's slowly look at what we have here. At the very bottom, you can see the two variables that we created in the previous lesson. Above them, there is the declaration of tick function. And above that, the declaration of begin play function. These functions are generated automatically whenever we create a new C++ class. Now let's look at this section here. This is actually the class declaration itself. For now, don't change anything here. And don't worry about understanding every line either. Right now, I only want you to focus on one thing. Whenever you write your own code, it will usually go between generated body and this closing bracket. Everything inside these brackets is called the body of the class. Now, inside this class body, there are only three things left that we haven't talked about yet. The first one is these keywords: public and protected. The second one is all these green lines of text. And the last one is this function declaration. Now, from the previous lesson, we already know something important. We are currently inside a header file. And because this is a header file, this is only a declaration of a function. The actual definition must be inside the CPP file. So let's switch over to the CPP file. And as you can see here, this is the definition of the testActor function. This function is actually called the constructor of this class. For now, just remember the name. We will be using it a lot throughout the course. A constructor runs before any other function. And as the name suggests, it is used to construct the class. Or you can say, it helps decide how the class should look when it is first created. Now, what do I mean by how the class should look? It simply means what will be the initial values of the variables you create. Or what will be the initial settings for this class. Let me show you what I mean in Blueprint. I am inside the Blueprint class that we created earlier in the course. At the top of this class, you can see two sections: class defaults and class settings. You can select either one and change its parameters. Now, if I open class defaults, you can see there are many options here. In Blueprint, you can tweak all of these options directly from here. But in C++, we usually tweak these settings inside the constructor. Let me give you an example. Here is a Boolean option called allow tick before begin play. In Blueprint, you can directly set this value to true or false. But if I create a C++ class, I can set the same value inside the constructor. I simply start typing the same name. And as you can see, Visual Studio immediately suggests this Boolean variable. Now, if you are wondering why there is a small b before the actual name, I already explained that in the previous lesson. For now, just select it. Set its value to true. And end the statement with a semicolon. Great! These are some of the settings that Unreal Engine provides by default. But you can also initialize your own variables here. For example, in the previous lesson, we declared and initialized these two variables inside the header file. Let's first remove their initial values from here. And now, initialize them inside the constructor. Both approaches work. However, declarations are different. Whether it is a variable or a function, the declaration must be inside the header file of that class only. Great! Now inside this class body, there are only two things left that we haven't discussed yet. These green lines of text and these keywords. We will understand both of them in the next lesson.